Summer for our family of 12 is just brimming with activity, from our regular household chores to some little hobbies that the kids are picking up, to growing our own food on our homestead in our garden. We have some meat birds, some laying hens, and this week we got some pigs. We also had an unusual lesson that I'm going to tell you about later, all in the video today. We are enjoying the beauty of summer, and this week we finally got the rest of our garden in the ground, which feels really good. Now it's just a matter of going out and watering those seeds every day and pulling weeds, trying to stay on top of that. We're still trying to just make a habit every day of going outside and spending a little time in the garden or just around the house, either pulling weeds or watering plants, just being out there every day taking care of it. I just find that this little bit of consistency really makes a big difference when it comes to growing food. We also have some new meat chicks that we got, and these are only a couple days old, and it was time for us to separate them. They're getting a little too big for one brooder, so we have two brooders. We're gonna have them in these for probably another week, and then they're gonna be out on fresh grass in a chicken tractor, and they'll be moved to fresh grass every day. So all these things are just projects, things that need to be done around here every day, and it keeps us busy, keeps our kids busy, gives us just a lot of exciting things to watch grow, and it's really fun for Benjamin. This is his first year, so we love watching the baby just experience all of this for the first time. If this is your first time on my channel, my name is Sherry. I'm a homeschooling mom to 10 kids. Our oldest is graduated. We have 7 in school and 2 preschoolers. I love encouraging other moms here on my YouTube channel. We homeschool, on paper, we homeschool from August through May. But realistically, our whole lifestyle is one of learning, so it's kind of hard to put into a box. And we're learning all year round, whether it's book learning, hands-on learning on our homestead with all the work we do around here. Learning is always happening. We've been having such a great week with our family. Our oldest son, Ty, is home from college for a couple weeks. We get to enjoy him before he goes back again for the summer. And we've just been having some great basketball games in the barn. We went to see a performance of Fiddler on the Roof, just enjoying some wonderful family time together. William has been asking me to help, if he can help in the kitchen a lot. And so I thought this was a good opportunity to let him help me make some bread. This is sourdough bread that I make usually once a week. My girls also make it. For a while, they were each making their own bread. One was doing a white sourdough, another one was doing a whole wheat, and then Afton was doing our honey yeast bread. So they still kind of do that, but if they're not doing it and we need some, sometimes I'll make a loaf. We do make a lot of our own bread. It's really just kind of become a habit for us, and it takes time, but it's just one more thing that gives our kids something to do. It's something to learn, and they've seen this process happen when you do something over and over again every week. It just becomes kind of normal for them, and it's familiar. I've been wearing Benjamin in my ergo a lot lately. I feel like babies go through different phases when they're first little babies, and even 6 months, 9 months old. I wear them a lot in a wrap or in my carrier. But then once they start walking, the world's so interesting, they want to be down. And so they kind of forget about that. And then they get to this spot, usually around like 16, 18 months, where they get kind of whiny and needy again and just want to be held. And sometimes I forget that the easiest thing to do is to put them on my back. But I've learned over time that around this age, my babies love going back on me and just being worn a lot. So I just do this until he wants to get down again and wants to explore. So that just kind of helps with some of that whininess when they get to this age and they seem like they can't satisfy themselves. The kids have been sleeping in a little bit later recently, which has been kind of nice because I've had a lot of mornings with Benjamin with me, just the two of us up early in the morning, and he's been helping me with my chores. You probably saw him out there with me catching chickens. When I go out to feed the chickens, every morning we have 4 or 5 chickens that keep getting out, and it's so frustrating. I'm usually sending some kids out, go catch the chickens, put them back in the fence. We find one spot that we think maybe they're getting out. We try to plug it up better, and then they are getting out again. So we maybe find another spot, and then we thought, oh, maybe they're flying over. So we clipped their wings, and I don't know, whatever we're doing is not working. We still have a couple chickens that keep getting out. So I just feel like when you have animals, this is the kind of unexpected things that happen, and you have to take care of it. I'm making oatmeal this morning for my kids, and when I make oatmeal, it's usually oats. I cut in some apples, put some raisins in there. We have it with milk. If I want to give them a little bit more protein, I'll add an egg or two, and it'll be more like a custard oatmeal. The kids have really liked that lately. But our go-to for breakfast is usually toast. We have a lot of toast in the morning. But I do try to mix it up. Sometimes we'll have oatmeal, sometimes we'll have eggs, pancakes. My girls often will get up early and make pancakes for everybody. They just really like to do that. I've had a few people ask me what type of school things we still do in summer, if we take a complete break or if there's a couple things that we still do. I still do a few things, but I hold it really loosely. I'm really laid back about it. I do Bible reading with our kids and memory verses, pretty much with our 9-year-old and down. And I wanted to show you these adorable baskets the girls are making. Every week they're into some new thing. Last week it was BB guns. This week they're into knitting these baskets for their succulent plants that they have. And they're so adorable. I was having so much fun watching them, and this took up a lot of their time. I love that they get into different things. So in summer, I read the Bible and we do memory verses, and then sometimes we'll do World Watch. And this is when we're having just a relaxed morning, nothing going on. If we have other things going on, it's not a big deal. We just don't do that morning. And there's the finished basket. So adorable. Another thing that I do is in the afternoon, I'll read aloud to them. I've found that it's harder the older my kids get to gather everyone. So if everybody's looking for something to do, I'll gather them and I'll read the chapter book that we're reading. But if everybody's playing and it's just, they'd have to stop for me to read to them, then I don't. And it's not a big deal. It's there if we need it, and if not, then they can just play. I told you I was going to tell you about an unusual school lesson that we had, and that happened on this morning. Years ago, when I was young, I have an unusual hobby. I got interested in learning the Russian language. It's something that fascinated me. I studied it in high school, studied it after high school, and then I wanted to pass it on to my kids. I don't know a whole lot, but what I do know, I wanted to pass on to them. And I worked a lot with my oldest 3 kids, and then I kind of got just buried in housework, babies, just that stage where they're all little. It was hard, and so it was on a back burner, but it's always been something that I come back to that I really love doing. My older kids aren't really that interested in it, but I have 2 kids that have shown a lot of interest in it lately, and I haven't taught them nearly as much as I did my older ones just because, again, I just kind of got busy with other things. But they've been asking me if I can sit down and do some Russian lessons with them. And I'm usually too busy during the school year. We just have too much going on. So I told them this summer that if they really wanted to do this, that if we had a slow morning, I would sit down with them and I would do some lessons with them. So that is something that happened this morning. And I know this is a really unusual hobby. Not many people would have an interest in something like this, but I wanted to share this with you because I've noticed that if you develop hobbies, if you have interests, if you're an interesting person, if you're always learning, that is going to pass on to your kids. So it may not be learning a foreign language like it has been for my kids. It may be something completely different, but if you are always learning and growing, your kids are going to pick up on that. And actually, I started this lesson with them. They got so into it that it drew some other kids over. My kids have learned how to read Russian. Most of them can read and write it. It's just something that slowly happened with 1 or 2 of them, and then the other ones learned from that first one. So they all came and sat down, and when they're interested in learning something, they learned more in that 20-minute lesson than in other times when I was trying to teach them something that they were not interested in at all. So there's 2 things that I kind of draw from that. The first is that there's something to mother culture. Mother culture is just taking the time to stop and do things that you love doing, that fill you up, that some kind of hobby, some interest that is apart from mothering, apart from homeschooling. It's so, so important. Your kids see that. They see you enjoying, taking delight in something, and it makes them want to do the same thing. The second is that when kids are interested in learning something, they learn an incredible amount of information in a quick period of time. Like when they're into something, then that is the time to just let them pursue their interests because they're going to just soak in and absorb everything. I had this really sweet moment. Benjamin has been letting me snuggle with him, and he's been so sweet letting me rock him to sleep. And then on this day, I did read in the afternoon. I started reading The Magician's Nephew to Julia, William, and Holland. I invited some of my other kids to read it with me, but they all said, "Oh, we read that already." And I feel like some of the older ones don't want me to read to them, which is an unusual thing for me. I feel like usually my kids they always want me to read to them. So I don't know if that's something that's changing or a phase. The exciting thing that we had happen this week was that we got our pigs. We raise 4 pigs every year. 2 of them are for us. The other 2 we raise in exchange for beef with a friend of mine. She has several cows that she has on her property, and she gives us beef. We give her pork. It's an awesome exchange. So today's the day we got the pigs, and this was really late. This is the latest we've ever gotten them. Usually we have them, I think, beginning mid-April. But we just haven't been able to get a hold of the guy that we buy them from, and so they're kind of late. We bought some older ones this time than we usually buy. Sometimes we'll get them a little bit younger. The kids really do enjoy having pigs every summer. Pigs are smart, they're interesting, and we weren't sure how this was going to go, getting them off the trailer, because usually we get them when they're a lot smaller. But surprisingly, it went really well. We were all kind of shocked how easy it was to get them to just walk back to their pen.
Let's go. Come on, piggy.
Hey, pull it back up.
Come on, pig.
Whoa! That was easier than I thought.
Go big.
Is that Wardy?
There you go.
That's not Wardy.
Wow, no problem.
Wow.
Wow. No need.
We had them in the barn for just a little bit, then we opened the door and let them out on fresh grass, and they were loving it. The guy we bought them from had them inside in the barn, so they loved going right out to the grass. And this was Benjamin's first time seeing pigs, so it's just always fun to watch the kids when it's their first, everything, watching their very first. So now our homestead is in full swing. We have our pigs, we have our broiler hens that we're raising for meat, we have our laying hens, and our garden. So just lots of responsibilities, and we all work together at it. All of us. The idea is we all work together to take care of the animals and the garden to meet the needs of the family. Our mulberry tree is just loaded, and the kids have been out there, and this is the next thing that's gonna just attract everyone's attention. They're probably gonna be collecting lots of mulberries. Thanks for watching this week. I do one video a week on homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms.